So now we start, and I'll do this. Gingerdead man. Oh. Gingerdead man. Action.
Excellent. Gingerdead man. So I guess the point of this one, at this point in this podcast, I think I'm just trying to destroy my credibility. Because I keep talking about, okay, this is not on par with, like, when I say Pluto Nash is, like, no, I don't think it's a bad movie, it's a good movie. This is a bad, good movie for me.
Yeah.
But I just learned today that you do not agree with me.
It's not so much that I think it's unwatchable. It's watchable, but it's not a movie I'd ever want to watch on purpose for me. Not ever. I watched it on purpose because I love you. You're my best friend.
How many times would you say I've made you watch this?
Like minimum 3, but I may have blacked out a few times.
Yeah, you almost blacked out watching it this time.
I napped out for 2 seconds. I woke up.
To me, so like there's different categories of bad film. And there's like those that like I think are intentionally made bad. And maybe there's a bit of that in this. But to me, like, it feels like they took it seriously for the most part. And then when you get to like, because Gingerdead Man spawned a ton of sequels. And then a ton of crossovers with the Evil Bong. And none of those are taken seriously.
I think it takes itself seriously within its genre. Like, within that horror/comedy genre, it takes itself seriously within that. Not seriously like probably any other movie we're going to watch.
Right, and I mean, it's hard to describe what I mean. Like, everybody in this, to me, seemed to be, like, attempting to act. Like, the plot, to me, while obviously silly because it's about a killer gingerbread man, it just, like, worked in a way that, like, didn't make me think, like, this is just a big joke to them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you start watching the sequels and the crossovers, it's just a big joke. Like, they didn't put anybody in there who actually wants to try and act. So that's kind of what I mean by that.
Okay.
Like this company that does it, Full Moon Entertainment, or I think Full Moon Pictures even, they had like so many movies, like they were big into like the straight to VHS B horror films.
Yeah, they got that Roger Corman style.
Yes. I mean, you know, obviously famous for a lot of big titles like Puppet Master, the Transfer series, Castle Freak, Demonic Toys. Like all those movies to me are like movies that were taken seriously.
Yeah.
And this to me is kind of like the gap between what they were doing in the 90s and then what they started doing in the 2000s.
Well, this film was started being written in 2000. And I want to know what the original script was because they evidently went through tons of changes, along with the design of the Gingerdead Man.
Yeah, I remember seeing concept art because I was like watching out for this, and it's a completely different character from what showed up.
Were they like, now we got Gary Busey?
Maybe. I guess it does kind of resemble Gary Busey, the puppet.
I think the puppet resembles. If you remember Dragon Ball Z, when Goku kills Frieza, and Frieza's dying, that last frame, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Gingerdead Man looks like to me.
Just funny.
You monkeys.
Yeah, so to get it into the movie, Gary Busey, as we've already noted, is in it. Apparently, Charles Brand was like, I'm going to the director and I think like the owner of Full Moon, and he's like the leader, the head guy. But he directed this, and he said that basically he was like, oh, well, let's offer Gary Busey $25,000. He probably won't accept it, but let's just offer it to him.
Yeah.
And, like, shockingly, he, like, accepted it.
I'll do it.
And, like, well, I don't think Gary Busey ever, like, phones anything in. He's usually pretty, like, whether good or bad, you know, all in.
He's full Busey.
Yeah.
All the time.
So, I promise you the opening. So, the opening, he is robbing a diner, and his family that he ends up terrorizing throughout the whole film is in there, and he kills all of them, and he's being like very weird, and the main character in this, Sarah, she's the only one that survives this attack, but he's like calling to her like a cat. I promise you that was all Gary Busey. None of that was in the script.
No.
Not a lot to say there outside of that. He just is given a killer performance, amazing performance in this diner. And it cuts to afterward, after shooting her, that he had been caught for his crime and executed. Then we're in the bakery sometime later. And Sarah is alive and preparing whatever at the bakery. And then there is immediately a delivery from a hooded person, I think presumably Gary Busey, which his character's name is Millard.
It's his mom.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his mom. She delivers like a thing of gingerbread dough, but it presumably has his ashes in it. Once we're inside of the bakery, we are introduced to another character, Brick, I believe it was.
Yep.
Brick is this wannabe wrestler that I think works at the bakery, and as they're like over the gingerbread dough, he like cuts himself, and the blood goes in there. There's no way they didn't notice it. But then again, they are a struggling bakery, so maybe they're just like, we can't afford to replace this.
It's flour.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest thing.
But the interesting thing about that is, like, they implied that that was an important part of it, that it had his blood in it. So, and there's a few instances of that I feel like we can just jump to. Because there's the blood, and then later on, Sarah is, like, struggling in a fight with this rival girl that shows up, and they, like, hit the breaker, and it, like, causes a surge to the oven that he's being baked in. So I guess, again, like, you're trying to make sense of, like, this basic plot.
I think Mama Busey was like, I don't know if they're gonna put blood in this or electrocute it, but, like, on the off chance, I'm gonna do it. We'll put it right in there and help my boy.
Yeah, but even, like, it's odd because he's, like, pulsating and, like, you kind of hear his grunts, his Busey grunts. Like, even before that happens. So it's like, was it necessary or was it coincidence? To, like, maybe just speed things up? I don't know.
Yeah, I would have looked at that and be like, that's not... Because you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
That's not bread. That's meat.
The character of Brick, though, is my favorite, as you know. He wants to be a wrestler, and he calls himself the Butcher Baker. And you told me because of me, that's kind of something that
It's stuck in my head forever. If someone says the word butcher, my brain immediately says, Baker.
The Butcher Baker. Your ass is toast.
Awful.
Or fantastic.
There is another employee.
Julia. That's that character.
Sounds right.
Doesn't do a lot. Really could have been left out of it. The only thing she was really there for is, like, later on when they, like, obviously should be just leaving the building. They're like, well, we can't leave Julia because she was knocked out. But I think after Sarah finally encounters the Gingerdead man, we're introduced to two characters, Lorna and
Amos. Yeah.
Because she's like this rival to this bakery. Her dad purchased like a bakery across the street.
Yeah.
And so she's there to like throw a rat in there to like screw with their business.
It's a wild way to do it. If I were Sarah, I'd be like, I'm gonna assault you because you're in my business, trying to sabotage me. You are trespassed, and I'm gonna hurt you. Instead, she hits her with a pie, and I'm like, no, you have weapons. You have sharp implements and blunt instruments, and she deserves it. She's trying to ruin your business, and she's talking shit in your business, and that's not enough for assault. But being in your business, unwarranted.
Well, her dad is this like tycoon, this Texas tycoon.
Yeah.
And clearly has like the more money. He's like the big man coming into town. So maybe she's just scared to get sued.
Yeah, from the Hawthorne estate.
That's right. He's played by the guy that plays Pierce's dad in Community. Instantly knew it when I heard his voice. I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
It's been a minute since I've seen this movie, apparently. One of my favorite things in this is the shooting. So, like, the grandma has, like, a shotgun. And from, like, across the street, like, perfectly knocks down the pins to the sign without doing anything damage with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense. And then there's another instance where Amos is on the floor and he's got his gun and he shoots a door open and then falls asleep. Or not falls asleep, but, finally passes out after being knocked on the head. Cinema gold. That's all I have to say about it.
I love how the Gingerdead man knows what he's all about right after he was baked. Like, not only does he have all of his memories as Gary Busey, but he also knows that he's made out of gingerbread.
Yeah, and like really leans into it.
Yeah.
One weird part is when he was, I guess the whole thing is weird, but when he was eating food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where's that going?
Yeah.
It seems like a closed system.
Yeah. A lot of it felt like they just let Gary Busey into the set with the puppet, and he just did things. Like, he saw the rat, and he just starts, like, talking crap to the rat. That did not seem scripted at all.
I love that. Oh, Amos when they all saw the Gingerdead man, and he's like, no, you acting like this thing is real is crazy after he just saw it. And he's like, it's a prank. It's the year 2005. What prank could that be?
I'm with him though, because that's like how I feel about ghosts.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's got to be a better explanation to this.
Yeah, but it's a little guy. He's there.
I mean, toys exist.
Yeah, but in 2005, they were trash.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it makes sense. Like the rest of the plot makes total sense. The whole film is like one of those self-contained movies. It's like the whole thing takes place in the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
So Amos is the boyfriend or plaything at the moment of Lorna, but instantly switches over to Sarah.
He knew where he stood with Lorna. He did not care. She wanted to think that he cared. But he was definitely sleeping with a lot of the women while they were together. Absolutely.
I thought it was odd that they set up Brick. Like, very clearly they were setting him up to be, like, the romantic connection.
Yeah.
And just completely abandoned it.
They're like, no.
He's like, he leaves. I don't think we ever mentioned that, but he went to WrestlePalooza or something.
We need Texas Eminem to deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you say you thought that he looked like he...
Oh, yeah. He looks like he plays Fushigi, which is contact juggling. With, like, you have a metal ball, and you put it through your fingers, and people who eventually become pickup artists were the ones who played with that when they were kids. He looks like he still did that and did the pickup artist things. And potentially other illicit substances. Yeah.
Is Fushigi? I thought that was like a brand.
Yeah, it's a specific brand of a specific contact juggling ball. We are not sponsored by Fushigi.
That'd be a fun one, though.
It would be, but we just talk shit about their customer base. We're getting sued by Fushigi.
We lost this Fushigi account.
No!
I mean, there's just not a lot to say about the plot because, like, or the film in general, because it's just a lot of running around the bakery. One death does occur outside, and that's the Texas tycoon father. He gets run over by the Gingerdead man,
Which is wild.
yeah. I mean,
Let me just go out here a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this car on.
I mean, we've already like suspended our disbelief by like so much that they're like, yeah, he could drive a car.
No, I know.
Yeah, he could shoot a gun.
Yeah.
Because he does shoot at people with a gun, with a handgun, in his little gingerbread body. That was another odd thing, was the size of the gingerbread man that she was making.
Yeah, who's that for? Special order?
Right, like it's not something you would sell in a store.
I think they're like the regular size gingerbread. That's not menacing.
Yeah.
Although, I bet it could be.
Yeah, I mean, the size he is isn't that menacing.
Yeah, it's just meatier.
Yeah.
I think that's really... It's bigger and grosser.
Comes down to it is you needed something big enough to put a hand for a puppet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't have CG. Could have done claymation.
What did you think of the puppet?
It was gross, but the effects were pretty good. I mean, and on my notes, so the special effects guy, Mark Rappaport's Creature Effects is this company, and they worked on 300 and I Am Legend, probably other things than those two, but it's a serious company making serious movies. They just did a good job on this.
Yeah. I Am Legend 300. Were those both after?
Those are...
I Am Legend.
Yeah, but not that far. Yeah. Not that far after. This might have been the first one. I didn't look into the company that hard. I have a list. This is how I do my work. I make lists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked to hear you defend the special effects of this film.
I mean, overall, but the puppet was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, again, looks like Frieza dying.
Yeah.
The film was shot in 10 days, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Even though it's only 70 minutes long, but there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, and I mean, I do feel like the actors were trying. I don't think anybody phoned it in, particularly the Texas tycoon father. I thought he was real good. Other deaths that happened, I mean, so basically there's that death, the grandmother. So there's a grandmother. I don't know that we've mentioned the grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, we did mention when she shot the banner.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a grandmother who's really owns the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
She gets her finger chopped off.
Yeah, and she's an alcoholic. They made a big point.
Right, yeah. Kind of details that I think I completely forgot, because if she wasn't in the movie, it wouldn't have changed it at all.
Yeah.
Julia gets attacked, and of course, humorously, is put in the freezer with whipped cream all over her. Oh, yes, and then Lorna gets killed.
Yeah.
She hits a booby trap and has a knife.
Yeah, just directly in the middle of her head.
Yeah. That's pretty good effect.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. Like,
yeah, it did.
When she was falling.
Then Amos and Sarah have a little talk about how when they were 5, Sarah hit Amos in the nose, and he said, "Maybe I like to be hit. Maybe that turns me on." But he was talking about himself when he was 5, and that's fucking weird. That's a weird thing to say. I don't foresee that ever happening in a real conversation, but it's okay. I see that happening as adults saying that
Yeah.
about them being adults. But this is 2005. It's a very different time.
Yeah. Amos at parts also kind of acted as, like, I guess, an audience member. Like, that doesn't make sense. What is this about?
Yeah, he's our eyes. Oh, when Lorna's dad died, or she noticed that he died, she said, "I miss you, Daddy," and that was funny to me. I thought that was wild because you said you miss him. She didn't say "I'll miss you." She says, "I miss you."
I thought. Well, I don't remember exactly what she says in that.
Therefore, I am right. No research.
Yeah, she gets over her dad's death pretty quickly.
Yeah.
To be fair, that happens a lot in those kind of movies.
Yeah, they got over a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
I would hate to live in this universe.
The Gingerdead Man Evil Bong universe.
Because I love gingerbread and bongs.
So, really gets into when we go to Brick returning after the Gingerdead Man has kind of gotten the best of Sarah and Amos, and Julia ends up waking back up, hitting the Gingerdead Man, and then Brick eats him. Gives the very hilarious line, "Got milk," and then ends up turning into a Deadite from Evil Dead.
Officially. And, like, we knew that was coming. I mean, I've seen the movie, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's gonna turn into the bad guy. He's gonna turn into Gary Busey.
Yeah,
and he did.
He didn't. They just used his regular. I really wish they would have dubbed over him. With Gary
but
Busey.
Thematically, he is Gary Busey now. I'm Gary Busey now.
Yeah, so he attacks Sarah, then Amos comes in, shoots him, and then they end up pushing him in the oven.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
They killed their friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Amos and him were friends, to be fair.
Yeah.
Coworker. They have to explain that shit. That's like they have a bake sale at the end, but I'm like, somebody's gonna miss this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can make this case for most horror films, but I really would love to know the explanation to the cops for all of it. It's like, oh, well, there's this little gingerbread man.
Oh, that's a funny pitch for a police procedural show.
Just the aftermath of all these. I do like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's like, what happened? Well, usual.
Yeah.
Bunch of people who fuck are dead, and the virgins are alive.
That checks out. You have a great day.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. Nobody's here. Nobody here's the murderer. We know that.
One thing that I think is important to point out, Sarah is played by Robin Sidney, and she goes on to be in a lot of these Gingerdead Man and the Evil Bong and the crossovers, but she does not play the same character every time. In fact, I think sometimes, and I haven't seen all of them, but just looking at the list, sometimes they just have her name as the character. So I don't know if she's just playing herself.
Why didn't she play the main girl?
Is that like, didn't Robert Englund play himself in one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets? Or at least it's like Nightmare on Elm Street is like a TV show or a movie franchise within it.
No idea. See, overall, I don't care for horror movies. They just don't do it for me. They don't ring my bell. Just something about it doesn't fill my soul. That being said, completely different thing. The director, I forgot his name already.
Charles Brand.
Boom. He's only directed 15 films. He's no Stephen Crew.
Yeah, I did notice that some of the more prominent ones from that studio that I thought he did, he didn't. Like the first Puppet Master, he didn't direct. I'm sure he still had part in it, but
he seems actually busy. Like, I'm just fucking around. He's up to shit. He's running the company.
Yeah,
he's doing stuff, producing. His hand is in everything that Full Moon does. That's impressive.
Well, I guess this is. I mean, you brought up your preferred director of bad films.
Currently.
Currently.
Of the moment.
Yeah. But these are like movies that I like grew up on. Puppet Master, Demonic Toys. Again, movies I shouldn't have been watching at that age. But like, this is a studio that I really love, and I'm definitely gonna end up making you watch a lot more of them. Would you recommend it?
If you like Chucky and horror movies in general, you like B stuff, you like watching lower budget movies, and there's nothing wrong with low budget movies. I love them. You'll probably enjoy this. If you haven't seen it already, it's very popular during the holidays. So if you like it, if you like that stuff, go for it. If you don't, try it. Because like, why not?
Short film.
Yeah, I mean, it's 70 minutes. You're not going to waste much time on it.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I'd probably recommend it. So highly recommend you go see it. But yeah, that's it. Gingerdead, man. Thank you.
I'm fired. I'm just leave.